In this video, we're going to break down Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards, their styles, how they both can win this upcoming match. I'm going to break down Colby, and Santi's going to break down Leon. Use the timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but let's get right into it. Colby has all the tools to beat Leon, so let me explain. One thing we know about Colby is the relentless pressure he puts on in a fight. He actively runs forward to take away that space, and we see that during the Masvidal fight in just the first round. Colby understands he cannot let the striker dictate the distance, so he took it away. When you go up against a good distance manager such as Leon, this is crucial. And when I talk about pressure, I don't mean just distance control, but also with his wrestling and punches. Wrestling wise, Colby is a former D1 All-American wrestler and two-time Pac-10 champion. On the striking side, everyone makes fun of Colby for having pillow hands, but this is all intentional. Colby is looking to set a high pace with his punches, and if you've ever trained before, throwing punches takes a lot out of you, let alone power punches. So, Colby decides that he doesn't need to knock you out. Instead, he's going to wear and tear you down from the first second of round 1. Yes, he has wobbled some fighters as highly skilled as Usman, but the real gem for Colby is using heavy amounts of light punches to open up the guard of a fighter, then he goes to his bread and butter, the takedown. Colby does this in a couple ways. One way, which is the obvious, wrestler's overhand. We see fighters from Colby all the way to Khabib use his overhand to set up the shot. Like DC, Colby will often fall over on his punches as a form of head movement that goes directly into a shot. Colby prefers to use the overhand to set up his single leg shot that he tried on Usman in both fights, as well as Masvidal more recently. But before these two opponents, this is what made Colby Covington into that fighter that no one wanted to fight. Colby usually would just walk forward and throw a crazy set of overhands to set that shot up, and from there is where the fun begins. Colby has finished 5 of his opponents via submission, each by way of rear naked choke or arm triangle choke. These are the classic wrestlers' submissions, someone that gets behind their opponent and earns that dominant position. Oddly enough, Colby was considered boring, and thus is why he made the whole persona of what we know to be Colby Covington. If you don't know, Colby was told from the UFC that they will literally cut him because he didn't bring in fans and no one cared for him. Why would anybody think that? It's because of his controlled wrestling. Colby will shoot and he doesn't stop and will continue to the cage where he will then cage ride an opponent. Colby is one of the best chain wrestlers we have in the UFC, and it's because when you mix everything we said earlier about the pressure and punches leading to a shot, it is a nightmare to plan against, let alone to stop as a fighter. This is where the casuals are running to their keyboards saying how Colby is boring and he isn't fun, and that's to be expected because it takes a lot to understand wrestling as opposed to someone getting knocked out. Colby does not care about the knockout, but more so about grinding down the energy of his opponent and waiting those later rounds to finish the job. This leads me into my next point. The cardio of Colby is insane. The fact that you can wrestle for the whole fight and keep walking forward is nightmare fuel. If I had to predict the sequence that leads into Leon's demise, it is this. Colby walks Leon down, throws an overhand, and immediately shoots the lead leg. Then he'll transition to the back and he will dump Leon. Colby specifically likes the lead leg because, as most wrestlers know, it is the easiest to take and then prefers to get up into that clinch where he can be really scary. Being in a clinch with Colby is like singing a song you don't know the lyrics to. Can you get through it? Yeah, but it's still tough. And when you have to worry about the double leg like we see in the fight with RDA, the single legs that he does in almost all of his fights, or even the back take, which is his go-to, it is increasingly difficult to fight against Colby on the cage. Colby can grab that underhook, and when you think you're safe, boom, elbow, or boom, spinning strike. And if he's not striking, Colby loves to get that body lock, throw some trips, and quite literally drag you down. If you haven't wrestled before, Colby will lean the opposite side of his opponent as he has them locked, and preferably with a leg hook, but he'll do it without one, and then use all of his weight and pressure to off balance and then advance position. If you've ever wondered how to stop a highly skilled striker, this is how. In a fight that is so close to call as this is, you always lean the wrestler, and I can bring up so many fights, and just some of the obvious ones to me are Khabib and Conor, where we see that overhand to a takedown utilized perfectly. Or Wonderboy against Woodley, Wonderboy against Burns, Wonderboy against Bilal. Yes, I am a Wonderboy fan. But Colby will wear and tear on Leon And yes, I know the argument is that Leon stayed up with Usman and beat him twice, and Usman then beat Colby twice. I don't care about MMA math, it doesn't make sense. But what I'm saying is that what Colby lacks on the feet, he more than makes up for in his octagon control, cardio, and wrestling. Leon Edwards has conceded at least one takedown in 7 of his 12 appearances in the UFC. He surrendered multiple takedowns 5 times, including 6 of them to Usman, 4 to Waters, 3 to Silva, and 3 to Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson even got to a split decision loss, and now he's on a 2-fight win streak, and he's still unranked. This is not to discredit Leon, as this fight was back in 2019, but it's just to show the game plan how to beat him. Bringing it back to Colby's striking, he has some of the most very underrated kicks we see, whether it's a snap kick or elite body kicks. These are just some of the things that Colby will look to utilize, and now Santi is going to break down Leon and disprove everything I just said.
That's why I think Leon will retain his title against Colby Covington, and I think it comes down to 2 words: distance management. And when you have a guy like Leon who has perfected his distance management, I think this is going to be a trouble night for Colby. Let's get down to the long range, aka the kicking range of Leon Edwards. We see that in his most recent fight against Usman, who has sort of the same style as Colby, which is get the takedowns, tire them out. Your striking will be translated through your takedowns when they're tired, and your striking can then open up. We see that with Usman against Gilbert Burns. We see that with Usman against Tyron Woodley, Colby against Jorge, etc. This is how these two have reigned this welterweight division for so long. And we see Leon almost pose like a fencer with his kicks. He throws oblique kicks to intercept any sort of pressure to Usman. Leg kicks, body kicks, teeps, obliques are the big one, but then you have all the other leg dexterity that Leon does have, which will create that sort of distance to Leon from Colby, and Colby won't be able to pressure if there's teeps coming his way. And I think Leon will be able to set it up perfectly to get those teeps in the way, to get those obliques in the way, to chop down at Colby's legs. If anyone knows, with a wrestler, you really want to chop on the legs, because if they're shooting at you, it's hard to get that lean, that lunge, if your leg is compromised. And you will get slower shots, you will get really tired, labor, sloppy shots, and it will end up playing a factor into the later rounds. But even with the long range, Leon Edwards, when it does come close, Colby likes to over lunge with a lot of his punches to get the takedown. Andy was talking about the overhand to the single. How does Leon do it? Leon is okay with the clinch. He is a clinch fighter himself. When you do get through that barrier of his kicks, he likes to initiate the clinch, and he sets it up with elbows and knees, and he has one of the most complex and beautiful elbow placements of all of the UFC, whether it's from hand trapping and then throwing the elbow, or the pushing the head down to get the knee and then throwing the elbow after. His knees to his elbows are otherworldly technical, and I think that will be a very big issue against Colby when he does over lunge, when he does try to get that takedown. Leon likes to grab overhooks, likes to grab underhooks, and initiate a clinch. Leon is not afraid of the clinch. He's not afraid of anything along those lines, because he knows how dangerous he is in the clinch. So you have 2 barriers from the range to the super long range that Leon has perfected. He's beaten the likes of Cowboy Cerrone, Bilal Muhammad, Usman. He's beaten technically Usman twice, but you don't count the first one because it was a very headshot dead. But he's gotten to this title through those 2 main ones. His boxing hasn't even been proven yet, and when it does, it looks amazing. He ties his kickboxing into his boxing, and will punish people for over lunging, will punish people for staying too outside. Leon Edwards in the stand-up is just beautiful to watch. But the big question is his takedown defense, because Colby will shoot the 20 takedowns, the 30 takedowns. When Leon is in the clinch, although he's looking for his elbows, he's looking for his knees, he's also looking to defend the takedown. And as well, he's looking to get his own takedown. We saw that in the first fight against Usman, where he ended up getting a trip to full mount. Usman had 100% takedown defense before that match. And you can see another time where maybe Leon does counter Colby's offense with his own offense. You may get a trip from Leon. Leon is not afraid of wrestling with Colby. Leon is not afraid of wrestling with Usman, so I don't see him being afraid of wrestling with Colby. But his clinch work with the overhands, the overhooks, and the wizards, and the underhooks to the turning, he completely neutralized Usman in that second match. Although, yes, it was close because of the fence grab. It was 4-1. And the 4-1 changed to a 3-2 because of the 10-8 round where he did grab the fence. Leon has incredible takedown defense when it comes to in the clinch, and with the switching stances of Leon so that Colby can't get that single leg, Colby's going to have to rely on a lot of his chain wrestling against the cage to defeat Leon. And we've seen Leon defend Usman, who is a stronger version than Colby when it comes to takedowns. So I see if Leon is completely fit and completely cardioed, that he will continue to stuff Colby, because there is no strength difference. There is no strength differential where Colby can outmuscle Leon into getting the positions that he wants. Because Colby, the way he gets his takedowns is through getting you tired, constantly giving you different things to come at you that you get flustered about it. But Leon, if he constantly defends the first takedown and then the second and then the third, what ends up happening is you're going to see a frustrated Colby, which can honestly mentally tire you. If anyone's sparred with maybe your coach or maybe the big guy in your gym, you will find yourself not landing anything, not landing any significance while they're just pummeling at you. And although you're not tired, you're not gasping for air, you're mentally tired. And that plays a big role into your fight game. I can see Colby being so frustrated and so mentally tired that it will make him look a little sluggish. We do see that in Colby Usman, the first two matches, where Colby kind of threw out all of his game plans of offensively wrestling to just striking, because he was so annoyed and so frustrated with the fact that Usman was just standing in the middle and trading bombs with him. And that's how you get the Usman knockout in the first. Overall, I think the leg kicks, the oblique kicks that can counter Colby's constant moving forward can lead to a middle of the octagon fight, or can lead to a frustrated Colby who then over lunges into that overhand to a single, which Leon can definitely stuff with overhooks and then elbows and knees in the clinch. I can see 5 rounds of Leon rinsing and repeating the same thing over and over again until Colby gets frustrated and starts trying to stand and bang with Leon. And at that point, Leon's going to piece him apart. There is no question that Leon has the better stand-up game of Colby. If Colby can properly get the takedown, Leon does like to give his back a lot, and that's not good with Colby. Colby has the jiu-jitsu that Usman doesn't have to get the choke. So I think Leon does win a decision as long as he does keep it on the feet, and he does keep it to what he did with Usman, which was the disciplinary distance management of constantly checking if I can pressure, if I can shoot, if I can really get inside. If Leon can keep that for a good amount of time, I see Leon stealing rounds, I see Leon's winning rounds and winning his title back and retaining it once again and looking for the next opponent.
For those that have made it this far, Santi and I want to personally thank you for choosing to stick with us and watch these videos, and we want to share that love back to you guys. So thank you for all the love and support, especially on the last Pareja video. We mean what we say when we want to give you guys value, and it starts with letting us know what you guys like. This video was based off a video that we're going to do based off a user comment that they want to see Sean Strickland versus Duplessis, so that is in the works. But again, we just want to thank you guys for choosing to stick with us. And if you like this one, you gotta keep watching because there's better ones on the way. So thank you guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. It's been studs.